The newest Lost Colony creature has arrived on the Arks, and it doesn't disappoint. Known as the Titan Killer, the Ossidon is a very difficult tame. However, I believe that I found one of the best ways to tame them and a way that makes it possible to get 100% taming effectiveness. So if you find this guide useful, please do hit the like button and consider subscribing if you're new here and you haven't already. Buckle up because this is probably one of the most difficult tames we've seen added to Ark, and it's a doozy. The first thing you need to know about the Ossidon is that it is spawning temporarily on Valguero, Ragnarok, and the Center in the snowy biomes. You can grab yourself one of these overgrown monkeys if you have the Lost Colony expansion pass. They'll be exclusive to Lost Colony once the map releases in December, but until then, you can find them on the 3 maps I mentioned. They are not currently breedable, however, they will be once the official release happens in a few weeks. Now, Ossidons are a combination knockout passive tame. You won't need cable for them, instead you're going to need a very good rifle and some darts. When you find an Ossidon you want to tame, you're going to shoot it with your darts, get it to half torpor, and then you're going to ride it, similar to how you would ride a Karcha and kind of do a little minigame taming process. There's 2 things that you have to do during this though. The first is to collect smaller creatures in a snowball, and then the second is to collect icicles it shoots out. Sounds easy, right? Well, not so much. It's pretty rough, especially if you're trying to do it out in the wild, in the snow. As you can see from the image on the screen, when you do ride it, you're going to have a few things to keep track of in the bottom center of your screen. On the left side is the icicle indicator. Depending on the level, you're going to need to collect that many icicles in a 2-minute period. You can see your timer in the center. And on the right side, you're going to have your creature indicator. You're going to have to roll up that many creatures in the ball in that 2-minute period. You have to do both of these things simultaneously. So what makes it so difficult? For a 150, you're going to need 50 icicles and 20 tames. If you manage to do this perfectly and get 100% taming effectiveness on a 150, each time you'll do it 4 times total, with just over 25% taming each time. If you mess it up even once, that taming effectiveness will start to drop, and it kind of just snowballs from there, ironically, and your taming effectiveness gets absolutely screwed. Now, these guys have similar stats to a Rex, so even a 150 will only have around 6,000 HP in the wild. That means a pack of direwolves can kill it pretty quickly. So how can you tame one of these things without wanting to pull your hair out? I've come up with a trap method. Now, if you like living life on the edge and you want to go out there and you want to tame it in the wild, all the power to you. Congratulations. GG. I'm not one of those people, and I know a lot of people aren't like that either. We prefer a more contained and more safer approach. And so thus I introduced you the giant, ugly behemoth gate trap. Now there's 2 different ways that you can do this. The first one is this kind of open-sided trap. Do ignore the strange angles of these. It is literally was just for testing purposes, and this is now what you're seeing. Now this is a pretty steep hill incline, as you can see here, and it worked pretty well. However, unfortunately, gates don't really go up hills well, which is obviously why this one kind of goes to this point. The problem with this particular one is that anything can come inside, and that is the whole reason why I've come up with this kind of trap method, because when you're trying to tame one of these guys in the wild, basically anything can come and aggro to it, causing problems, kill it, so on and so forth. This method kind of protects not only the creature itself, but also the creatures that you are using in order to tame it. And this particular one is one example of it. It's an open-sided with the hill up on top. The second version is a round or circular style one. It's basically the same concept with the hill on one end of it or in the center of it. I do recommend kind of having the hill on one end of it and then the slope leading down to the other side. And I do recommend for this particular one that it is quite large because if you do hit the sides, it will knock you off of the tame. But you can go with either of these structures. Obviously, in some places, it is very difficult to put the behe gates, but this is the general kind of shape, either a round circular feature or the open-ended side one going up the hill, or really anything that you kind of figure out that works. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but this is just what I have kind of found works for me. Now, you're probably thinking, Mystic, what on earth are you on about? You need to go and run over creatures in order to tame them. Well, that's where these guys come in. I have with me a dodo and an ovis. Now, these guys work really, really well. The problem with a lot of creatures in regards to taming an Ossidon is that if you have too many large ones and it runs into them and it can't get past them or through them or pick them up in the ball, it'll actually kick you off. These guys are great. They have a very small hitbox, and for the most part, as long as they're not, like, at least the Ovis, as long as the Ovis are not in a giant huddle, you can get through them with the Ossidon pretty easily, and I haven't really had any issues with the Ossidon kicking me off with these two creatures in particular. There's a bazillion other small creatures with very small hitboxes that would work just as well. Drakelings, probably Moss Chops, Oviraptors, so on and so forth. But these are the ones that I have found that work the best. Now, if you're playing on official, it is a little bit different because you do have to worry about cryo timers, but the majority of people playing on unofficial don't have to worry about cryo timers. I would strongly encourage you to have many creatures to use for this, whether they be wild creatures that you pick up and you drop inside of your taming area, or ones that you have bred and tamed and you throw out. And I do encourage that if you're going to use tamed ones, that you use ones with high health because they will last longer and you'll need less of them. But these can work, both the tamed ones and the untamed ones, wild ones, in order to count as a creature for it to pick up. It just needs to roll it around in its ball. They will take damage as they do that, though, because it does cause damage to the creature. So that's, again, why I recommend creatures with high health. But this is a really good way of doing it because your creatures are not going to get killed by any wild creatures that run by, wolves, RGs, UDs, because they're inside of here. If you are just going for wild creatures and you are not using this trap method, you're going to run into the situation where you may not find any. You may get into an area that is a dead zone and only has large creatures like mammoths or rhinos or UDs, and then you kind of are just wasting time, and that is pretty much how you're going to end up ruining all of your taming effectiveness. If you have 100 dodos in here or 100 ovis in here, all spread out, because again, you don't want to have them in a pile where it gets stuck, you are more likely to not ruin your taming effectiveness in terms of running over the creatures versus if you are running over the creatures out in the wild and you run out of creatures to run over or you get knocked off or whatever, you're less likely to have those problems in this situation. Okay. As you can see, I have littered this area with wild creatures and with tamed creatures for this experiment, so to say. Now, a lot of this taming does apply if you do not use the trap method. I am just encouraging you to use this because it does seem to keep it the safest and it does make it the easiest. You don't have to worry necessarily about other creatures getting involved unless they wander in. This one's a little bit more open, but it's really hard to get the gates to go up the hill versus the other one over there that is like pretty much fully enclosed. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and spawn in a level 50. Now what you would want to do with these guys is you're going to want to find one in an area, build your trap, lure it in, start the taming process. When you're setting up your gates, you're going to want a little bit of room in between them so that way you can escape and get out, because there is a slight cooldown from when it kicks you off before you can start torpor-ing it again. You could also do this from the back of a griffin if you have a griffin or a flyer or a creature like you ride around on that you can shoot off the back of. But if you're doing it fully on foot, it's a little bit harder, and you're not going to want to get hit by this guy. As you can see, I am no longer in GCM. I am using a very good rifle. I will show it to you. This is what you're going to want to do. I also have a spyglass mod on. You can see it only has 6,000 torpor at a low level. Let me put everybody on passive here. When it hits that halfway point, it's going to get stunned. You can see the blue thing around its head. You can run up to it, ride it. Now, as you can see, I have a 2-minute timer. Okay, we're good. We're going to come down here, and you're going to hear a noise. 3, 2, 1. And it's going to shoot crystals in front of you. You need to run over those in order to tame this guy. As you can see, I need 10 creatures and 20 crystals for a level 50. That's a lot, man. That is an absolute lot. Wildcard was not being nice with this. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and noise. And then there go the crystals. You can pick up the crystals by just running over them like this. And you can run over the creatures and try and pick them up in the ball. You're going to need... you need to time it about every 10 seconds. So what I like to do is I like to go 1, 2, 3, sound. Face the hill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Face the hill when you hear that sound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's gonna face the hill. All right, 1, 2. I got 44 seconds to get 4 more. When it hits 20 crystals and 10 creatures, it's gonna kick me off anyways. So there we go. We got those. We've got just 2 more that we need. We'll just circle back around. 3, 2, 1. I got kicked off. So it's gonna be on a bit of a cooldown. So I recommend waiting a little bit before you try to knock it or trank it again. Just be careful if you've got tech gates, as you can see. So he's up there. I'm going to very quickly just spawn in some more dodos down here because as you can see, a lot of our creatures have run away. At the moment, he is at 25.2% taming and 100% effectiveness. That's only if you can hit that goal on both sides, both the ice crystals and the tames that you're picking up. If you cannot hit that, it will be lower on both. Now, when you go to get back on him, even though it says 100% at the moment, you're going to see that that's going to change. But let's go ahead and take a look here. So we're going to go ahead and shoot him. All right, so he's at 2.3. It's going to keep going up. He's coming towards me. And then I'm going to do one of those. And now he's stunned. I can run up and get back on. There we go. So I'm going to want to go down the hill so that I can face the hill when those first crystals go off. Oh, there it goes. I was a little bit late there, but I can go ahead and grab these. All right. So the key with this, I wouldn't necessarily, as long as you have enough creatures, I wouldn't worry so much about focusing on the creatures as I would be focusing on the icicles, the crystals. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Pick them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Turn and face. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The creatures themselves, if you have enough in a small area, are easy enough to get. It is genuinely these crystals that are the problem. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Just come back up. We're at 14. We still got a minute left. There we go. 1, 2, 3. We're going to turn back down around here. There we go. Turn. There we go. It's honestly about timing. It's about 8 to 10 seconds. Oh, there we go. All right, we got kicked off. He is going to chill. We're going to get out of his way. Woo! Please don't get mad at me. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, 50.4%, 100% taming effectiveness. So basically we're in the same situation that we were. And now I can come in. Should be able to go ahead and start tranking him. Oh, I missed. Oh, I have the reload bug. Love that. Oh god. Please leave me alone. I'm sorry! I didn't mean to look at you funny. There we go. And should just be one more. There we go. So now we're on to our third one. You're going to need to do this 4 times if you do it effectively. And now, of course, we have a dire wolf on us, which is a problem. You can pick up a dire wolf, but it does get messy. It does get a little bit on the messy side. 3, 2, 1. As you can see, we have a lot less creatures now because the wild ones have wandered off, which does make it a little bit difficult to find creatures to grab. There we go. So that's why I recommend having an absolute ton of creatures, like a ridiculous amount of creatures for this. Oh, I messed that one up. It's okay. It's all right. We're going to go and try and grab these guys. I think we grabbed the wolf, which is good because we're at 6. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Grab those. So we're at 10, which is a bit of a problem. The dire wolf is out. The creatures do come out. You do have to be careful because they can cause problems because they can hit your guy. 3, 2, 1. There we go. There we go. You do want to have a little bit of distance. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to pick them up. I'm at 45 seconds. I still need to get 9 of these, which is a bit of a problem. 12. There we go. 1, 2, 3. I'm at my 10 creatures. I really just need to focus on these. There we go. Should be able to get it. 18, 19. There we go. Beautiful. Oh, that is going to be fun. A Drakeling might be a really good idea for that because obviously, as you can tell, I just took a massive amount of fall damage. I'm going to come hide out under here. We only have to do this one more time and he will be tamed at 100%. So as you can see in the bottom of our bar, that orange kind of meter goes down every time you get on. So even though you're at 100% when you get off, that meter goes down every single time you mount, and you have to fill it back up basically by fulfilling this. This is a race against the clock to not die. We're 20 out of 20, so we literally just need to pick up one creature. I see dodos, so we're gonna go for the dodo. There we go. And there's our Ossidon. And as you can see, it came out to a level 74. It was a level 50. And that means it got 100% taming effectiveness. So the reason why the hill is so good is because if you can get your icicles to go on the hill, you don't have to go very far to get them. The farther you have to go, the longer it takes to get them, the messier it all becomes, right? So, for example, if I were to do this on flat ground, the icicles can travel really, really far. You have to run farther and farther and farther to get them, and it tends to become just really, really messy. So if you can find a way to just kind of circle in an area and just keep turning every single time, if you keep track of it and turn every single time you're about to shoot out those crystals onto this mountain, then you have them in a very small, isolated area. The reason why a full trap is a good idea is because it keeps your creatures in the area. As you can see, it became harder and harder and harder with the wild ones. They all started migrating off in that direction. And it just becomes harder to keep your creatures in a contained area if you have open sides. The main idea, the main key point to getting 100% taming effectiveness on this guy is to be able to do it in a small, tight area. I don't recommend any smaller than this because, again, you can get into a bad situation where you accidentally run into the pillars or the walls or things like that, and it will kick you off. But if you can keep those icicles going in a small contained area, and you have enough creatures to pick up in that ball in this small contained area, you are going to be able to get 100% taming effectiveness. As I mentioned, this is with a level 50. It is very, very hard with a level 150. The timing is the same. However, the requirement is a lot more, and I'm going to go ahead and show that to you. I have done this on stream in the wild for you guys to see. If you would like to check it out, I will probably link the stream in the description or maybe up above. But for this one, I'm going to use this bigger, rounder trap simply because it is a lot easier to work with. All right, here we go. It is time to take on a 150. Now, these bad boys have around 15,000 torpor. This is really important because, again, you have to get this to halfway in order for it to work. So I recommend a very good rifle before attempting this. And as far as I can tell, they don't really take headshot damage. Oh, God. Ooh, hello. That's not very nice of you, sir. Oh, God. Oh, please close that. But yeah, obviously I am using a mod that allows me to see its torpor and stuff like that. But as you can see, there we go. Okay, we gotta run in. These guys run just the same as any other one, all right? It's the exact same. The same timing, the same everything. You have about 10 seconds between each round of ice crystals, icicles. You have to get 20 tames. You also have to get 50 icicles. So the only difference between this and anything else is really just the amount of things that you need to do in order to get that 100% taming effectiveness. You have the same amount of time as the lower level ones. And I really do think that Wildcard needs to adjust this because it is brutal. It is absolutely brutal and very, very, very difficult to get 100% taming effectiveness on a 150 because of how much you have to do in order to get there. As you can see, I was a little bit late there. So my stuff went a little bit wider than I would have normally have liked because I'm also not counting out loud, which helps me tremendously. Time, oh, there's the sound. And as you can see, if you can't get it in a circle and really, really tight, it's really hard. So we've done the math. Oh God, not again. We did do the math. And for a 150, each round, you can only miss a max of 16 icicles. If you miss any more than that, you're not gonna get 100%. It is just plain and simple. We're at 35 out of 50. We have 38 seconds left. You can see how hard this is. This is very, very hard. But this is why the hill method and using a hill to your advantage to stay in a tight area and a tight circle works really well. We're at 44, and we can actually do this. We could actually do this. We could get the first round at 100%. That one, and then that one. Okay, so we're at 50. We just need to run over. We have 12 seconds to pick up 3 creatures. There we go. 19, 20. There we go. I got kicked off, so I'm gonna go ahead and run out. And there you go. That is how you get 100% taming effectiveness on a level 150. I'll show you in a second what it says, just like the lower level. As you can see, 25.1%, 100%. You have to do this 4 times perfectly. It is very hard. Very, very, very hard to do this perfectly 4 times. Because the margin for error is so small. It is so stinking small. And you need so many creatures in order to do it. It is very, very difficult. All right, there we go. We've got it stunned again. I don't know how long the cooldown is on this. I haven't really tested that or played with that. But here we go. We're on round 2. As you can see, it's dropped down to 67, 68%. It does drop down every time you get on it. So don't freak out when you see that number go down, because if you can get this perfectly, it will go back up to 100. We're gonna see if we can get 2 rounds of 100%. It's very hard. You can't make very many mistakes with this. It is very, very difficult. 3, 2, 1, hill. As you can see, we were a little bit high up there, but if you can stay very centrally located on the hill, it'll work out really. Oh, turn. I was that one. The problem with using the trap is that your icicles will go into the walls, and if they go into the walls, you will be kind of screwed because you obviously can't hit the walls. Otherwise, it will knock you off of the Ossidon. And you do have to run over the icicles in order for them to count. So we're about halfway there on time, halfway there on icicles. As long as you have lots of creatures, don't worry about your creature counter until the very end. What you need to be focusing on is the icicles because you need so many of them and they're so hard to get. Stay away from the walls. The walls are dangerous. That one's a bad one again. I think this one's going to be a bit of a dud here. We're not going to be able to get the last bit in the 30 seconds. But you got to do as much as you can in order to get your taming effectiveness to go up. But this is why the 150 is so hard. You just need a little bit more time, or they need to bring down the requirement from 50 icicles, because the 50 icicles is honestly the hard part. Getting the creatures is not that bad. It is the icicles that is the problem. As you can see, we're at 50 actually, which is not that bad, but we still need 4 more tames and we have 1 second. So we didn't get the tames, but I think we got the icicles, which is pretty good. But unfortunately, that means we are no longer going to get 100% taming effectiveness on this guy. And I'll show you what he looks like here now. So he's at 97 with 48.7. It is possible. It is possible to get 100% taming effectiveness on an Ossidon, a 150 Ossidon. Is it easy? No, it is very, very, very hard. All right, there you have it. That is my guide to getting 100% taming effectiveness on the Ossidon in Ark Survival Ascended. I do hope that you found this useful, and if you did, make sure you hit the like button and consider subscribing if you're new here. Of course, let me know in the comments if you have found any other useful tips and tricks in order to tame this guy. And if you use my method, do let me know how it worked out for you, because it is quite difficult. It will take a couple tries to kind of get the timing down. But I think that this is probably one of the best ways as of right now in order to get your hands on the brand new Ossidon. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next one.